Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, it's the Midday Market Report with Jeff Dawson.
Hey sports fans, are you ready for an exhilarating gaming experience? Introducing VIPclub.lv, your ultimate online sportsbook and casino. VIPclub.lv offers a vast selection of sports, from football and basketball to tennis and baseball. Bet on your favorite teams and enjoy the thrill of the game. But that's not all. Our state-of-the-art online casino offers a dazzling array of games, including slots, blackjack, roulette, and live dealer tables. Win big with their fantastic promotions, rewards, and exclusive offers. Join VIPclub.lv today and get a generous 200% match welcome bonus to start your winning streak. Bet it, win it, and cash it at VIPclub.lv. Visit VIPclub.lv now and play responsibly. VIPclub.lv, your sportsbook and casino extravaganza. Must be 21 or older to play. Please gamble responsibly. Visit gambleware.org for help.
Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your midday market report for Friday, June 9th, 2023. Action-packed Friday. In the studio as we speak, Sean Alvarez, Mr. Smooth, here to break down the Belmont Stakes. Air quality permitting, God bless there. At 2 o'clock, Matt Chris and Quentin Mills will break down the Super Regionals, the Sweet 16 of college baseball. At 4:30, myself and Riley Magnuson will break down today's market report in the closing bell. Shout out to Ben Cohen. Who else am I going to give a shout out to? Let me see. Cade Horton and Joseph Shea, all these gentlemen behind the glass today. And a shout out to the VIPclub.lv for sponsoring today's show. Please use ECSI at checkout. Tell them JD sent you. Without further ado, let's bring him in, the one and only Mr. Sean Alvarez. Afternoon,
How you doing,
Sean?
Jeff? Afternoon, Jeff. Thanks for having me on. Always look forward to breaking down some horse racing.
Yes, the Belmont Stakes. The wildfires in Canada has kind of turned New York City into the apocalypse, as we were talking backstage. Currently running the day before this 5 stake races at the Belmont. So I guess they'll keep a close eye on those races. And then again, air quality permitting, they will run the Belmont on tomorrow. You've been here for the Kentucky Derby. Hats off, Mage. Huge winners for all of us there. Had the Preakness exacta. Got caught at the wire. No, lost at the wire, that one. We won at the wire on the Derby. Before we get into this race here, tell me what you saw at the Preakness and leading up to this race.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of alluded to it when we did speak previous to the Preakness. Was there wasn't a lot of speed in the race. There was not a lot that was going to go up and want to challenge for the lead. And we saw National Treasure just get out to an early, easy lead. There was workout type fractions, and he happened to just go on with it. Blazing Sevens ran a huge race. I honestly thought that at some point his head actually came in front. National Treasure just had a little bit more left in the tank. But man, that would have been great if the Blazing Sevens would have at least capped off that exacta, because that was our top pick. We really liked how he was going into the race. Again, sometimes it's better to handicap the people rather than the horses. And Chad Brown loves getting a horse off of a layoff going into the Preakness. He ran a huge race. We did cash the exacta, but unfortunately that darn Baffert horse had a little bit left in the tank.
3 weeks off in between this race and the Preakness, only 2 weeks from the Derby to the Preakness. the weather is obviously been the story. What's going on there? The buzz. Give us a little preview, because after this race, for the average person, Joe Public, horse racing's done for the summer, and they're just waiting for obviously the Breeders' Cup in the first weekend of November. But for us diehards here, and especially locally, a few hours down the road, we'll have Saratoga. And I know you have a lot of great races that you follow and tracks during the summer. After today's race, where do your eyes go?
Yeah, I was going to say, definitely, I usually take a little bit of time off going into the Triple Crown. The summer for me is the best betting races all year. Like you alluded to, you have Saratoga. It's nicknamed the Graveyard of Champions. Not a lot of chalk wins there. You have Del Mar that starts the same week or maybe the week after. Sometimes they've been changing their schedule up, so I'm not entirely sure, but it's usually a week after July 4th. It's some of the best racing. Yeah, we don't have a big story to tell. There's no Triple Crown contender going into Belmont. We do, for those that don't follow horse racing as much. Tom Durkin is one of the best race callers that I've ever heard. He is actually coming out of retirement to call the Belmont. So if anything, as far as a storyline, I can't wait to hear that call. I hope it's a good finish at the wire so I can keep watching it on YouTube over and over and over again, like I do the Woodward for Rachel Alexandra's race. So not a lot of public storylines, but it still should be a good race. We spoke about the weather. I mean, it looked absolutely terrible there yesterday. I did, like I said, I big proponent of following G1 handicapping on Twitter. He literally is a weatherman in his normal job. He makes models for weather. Great guy to track, even outside of horse racing. Just to give him a little nudge and say, hey, what do you think about the weather at the Yankees game? He's always a good follow. But he alluded last night that the wind did shift. It picked up a little bit. However, it may start to rain a little bit. So some of the smoke has dissipated. But when he says the rain is going to come down, what he's talking about is kind of that atmosphere level will come down to what we breathe. So even though the winds dissipate or, dissipating that smoke, we still may get those smoky levels. And just as far as what I've seen, the state of New York is going to have a hired state veterinarian on track. And every horse that's running this weekend, not just in the Belmont Stakes, but if you're running at Belmont, you have to pass some kind of respiratory test. I don't know what that entails, but my guess is if you have any kind of breathing issues, you're not going to be able to run. So definitely keep an eye out for scratches. But with that being said, they are running at Belmont today. To the naked eye, I'm not an expert. It looks okay. Hopefully it just continues to get better.
Well, I'm looking at CBS odds here, CBS Sports. I'm showing 9 horses in the running. I don't know what you have in front of you. I don't know if you want to go through 1 through 9 initially, the horses, your initial thoughts. I'm seeing Tappet Shoes 20-1, Tappet Trice 3-1, Arcangelo 8-1, National Treasure 5-1, Il Miracolo 30-1, Forte, who will probably go off as the favorite at 5-2, Hit Show 10-1, Angel of Empire 7-2, and rounding them up at the 9 spot, Red Route 1 at 15-1.
Yeah, so as we've done for the Derby and the Preakness, I'll just kind of go down. There's going to be a couple horses I really just don't have much to say about, including the one Tappet Shoes. I just don't think he's good enough to run with these horses. But with that being said, I think this horse may be some kind of a pace presence. He's coming from the rail. It is a big track. It's a big sweeping turns. Sorry, my dog's talking to me.
Oh, that's fine.
They're big sweeping turns. It's a long track. They're going 1.5 miles. He's got all the time in the world to get out of that rail spot, but he needs to be somewhat in touch with the lead. So I don't think he's going to be even close to, in contention come the wire. But I think this may be somewhat of a pace presence. Going down to the 2 Tapit Trice, we talked about this horse during the Kentucky Derby show. And the big knock on this horse was he hates the rail. He's done it in races going into the first turn, done it in races coming into the stretch. He's done it in all workouts. He does not want to be pinned in on the rail. But he doesn't have 18 horses to deal with now. He only has 8 other horses to deal with. They are big sweeping turns. So I do think that this horse could be up and near, at least in contention. If he's good enough, he may just trip out. Archangelo, I actually really like at 8-1. He's from a really unknown barn, but he still gets Javier Castellano to stay on. Javi obviously won the Preakness. Mage isn't running, so he needs another mount. Javi chooses to stick on this horse. He won last time out on this track in the Belmont, going 2 turns. And he did it coming from the back, but while they were going super slow. They went 112, 136, going 1 mile and an eighth. That's very slow. And so instead of just kind of, allowing those horses to keep going, he made up the distance, put his head in front, and unlike Blazing Sevens, was able to continue going on. I think there's a lot to like about the 3 Archangelo. The 4 National Treasure, the Preakness winner, we talked about it. He got walking fractions, going a lot shorter of a distance. Nobody was challenging him. Horses can go a little bit quicker as long as they have nobody around. They get that idea that they're just doing it on their own. Nobody's challenging them. Some horses, especially Baffert horses, do not like other horses passing him. So the biggest thing with this horse is I don't think he's going to get that easy lead. Even if he goes a little bit quicker, he's going to have the likes of Tapit Shoes on the inside that he has to go and just kind of jump ahead of. With that being said, you look at his pedigree. I don't know if you can hear that in the background.
I can hear.
If you look at his pedigree, he's not bred to go 1.5 miles. A lot of these horses, these are classic type horses. They want to run 1.25 miles. So the Belmont in general is usually a distance they don't want to go. It's a little bit further, but his pedigree, there's nothing in his pedigree that suggests he wants to go 1.5 miles. So if he sets the pace, I just don't think he's going to have that energy in the tank like he had in the Preakness. I don't think he's going to kick on. I think he's going to fold. So even if he gets the easy lead, there's not a lot that I like about this horse that says he's going to get that 1.5 miles against this type of competition. The 5, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name because I have nothing good to say about him. I got absolutely nothing. He could, bother National Treasure a little bit for the pace, but honestly, if he does, Marco Meneses is literally just taking his horse out of the race. I don't exactly know how he can keep him in the race, but if he goes, you can just basically chuck the 4 and the 5. If they go battle in the lead, I don't think they're going to be anywhere near, those top 3 positions come to wire. The 6 Forte, we kind of talked about that there's no storyline. This is probably the only storyline. This is the favorite going into the Derby. The state veterinarian scratched the horse. It wasn't the trainer. It wasn't their vet. It wasn't the owner. Maybe Churchill jumped the gun. I don't know. My thing is, as long as we protect those equine athletes, as long as we protect the horses, we're doing right by the sport, right? If it weren't for the horses, we wouldn't be running this. So I'm okay with the scratch. But on top of that, the Rapoli and St. Elias stable, that's Vinny Viola, who's also a co-owner of the Florida Panthers. So it may be a little bit of an exciting weekend for him. That's kind of your storyline. There's a lot to like about Forte, but when I handicap horses, especially big races, I can bet a favorite in a 10,000 claiming race, right? I can bet a favorite in an allowance race. I don't necessarily need to bet a favorite in a grade 1 Triple Crown race that Jeff Dawson and I are doing a show for. I'm not saying I won't bet a favorite because of that, but with my handicapping, when I see a favorite, especially on a big day, I try to punch holes in the form, try to find reasons why I don't like the horse. So, okay, he's coming back from an injury, scratched out of the Belmont. He was not entered into the Preakness. Now, granted, his entire ownership group is from New York. Maybe they just said, skip the Preakness, let's pinpoint the Belmont. But a horse that hasn't run, that was scratched by, the state veterinarian, I'm not necessarily jumping to bet him at, what may be 2-1 as the favorite. So it's kind of a horse that great on form. He's got a great trainer. He's got a great jockey. He's done nothing wrong. He's won his last 5 starts. He's actually 6 for 7 in his career. I'm just not jumping at, betting him off the scratch. So that's kind of, the horse that I want to beat. The 7 Hit Show, there's not a lot to like about the form. 7's, 10-1. But if you watch the replay of the Kentucky Derby, he was in touch with that pace, and he was covered up on the inside, outside, behind him, in front of him. Just a very uncomfortable trip. You can't exactly run how you want to when you're literally boxed in by 5 to 6 horses. He obviously didn't run as well as Two Phils did, who was in touch with that lead and came in second, but he ran on well for a really respectable 5th while being in touch with that pace. Like we said, he's going up against 8 horses. He's going to have big sweeping turns. There's not a lot of traffic that he's going to have to deal with. Manny Franco stays on. I think there's a lot to like about the 7 Hit Show, especially at those odds. We jump down to the 8 Angel of Empire at 7-2. This is my top pick. If you watch our shows, you'll probably know why. I love Flavien Prat, especially when he's on a horse that can come from the back, but can also be a little bit more of a mid-back type of a horse. Flavien has one of the best mental clocks in his head. He knows when the pace is going too slow. He knows when the pace is going too fast. And he puts his horses in the right position. If they go too slow, I can see Flavien making a middle move on the backside and just putting the field away. If they go too fast, I can see him sitting back with Forte and just making one run. Again, he's not the favorite. I don't think he's going to be the favorite. I think Tapit Trice may even get a little bit more money than him. So at third choice, that's definitely my top pick. Red Route 1, I do like this horse a little bit. He's going to come from the clouds, I think. I think he's going to be last in the first turn. If they go too quick, I think he's got a chance, mainly because I really like Joel Rosario's hands. He's got really quiet hands, and he can really get a horse to finish. I just don't think he's going to get the pace to run into. I think he's going to come from way too far out. Maybe can clunk up for 3rd or 4th, but I just don't see how the pace, fits this horse.
So the $1 million question is, how do you suggest that we play this race?
So if you want one horse to bet, if you just live and die by the win bet, Angel of Empire is my favorite pick. I think not only is he going to give you a little bit of value being at 7-2, you may get 3-1, 7-2, maybe 4-1. I hope not, mainly because I may be a little bit off. But if you want to win bet, I really do like the 8 Angel of Empire. As far as an exacta goes, because let's get paid a little bit more. I really like I told you, the 3 Archangelo, the 7 Hit Show, and the 8 Angel of Empire. So I'm going to play those 3 on top on $1 exacta. So if you're going to play the exacta that I like is the 3, the 7, and the 8, with the 2, the 3, the 6, the 7, and the 8. So we're trying to beat Tapit Trice. We're trying to beat Forte. If Angel of Empire wins, great. But if Lightning Strikes and Archangelo and Hit Show, run as well as I think they will, this thing's going to pay really well. So, like I said, it's the 3, the 7, and the 8 with the 2, the 3, the 6, the 7, and the 8. For $1, that will cost you $12 to punch. You can punch it for more times if you like. Don't hit it too many times. I'd like to get paid too.
I love the thought process. I really do. I see exactly what you're talking about. It's funny because, you're going to turn the race on at, the track on at noon. And what's post time again? Around 6:48 again? Is it that late?
It says 7:02, so that's got to be 4 o'clock Pacific. But I'm not going to turn on the race. I'm just gonna tell Benson to turn on the race. I think I'm going to go over to Circa and see if I can't win a little money over there.
7:02. OMG. By the time that race gets to post, every horse will be talked about 35,000 times. Everyone will be covered by every one of the people working for the network. Listen, so one more time. Go ahead.
We've got an hour and 8-minute delay between race 11 and the Belmont Stakes. I hate that. I absolutely hate that.
So 8, Angel of Empire. If you're looking to put just a win bet and $1 exacta, Sean has the 3, 7, 8 on top with the 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, trying to beat potentially the two favorites, Tapit Trice and Forte. And before we close here, Sean, I don't want to say, I'll see you in November when we'll get to the Breeders' Cup. I've always opened the door and left it open throughout the summer. If you got a card, you got one race that you want to break down, whether it's at Saratoga or wherever your track is that you're eyeing, please send me a DM. The door's wide open. We'd love to hear you. There's a ton of people that would love to hear from you.
Yeah, I got to get over that anxiety. I'm happy to lose my own money. I'm not thrilled about losing anybody else's money. So, but with that being said, like I mentioned, my two favorite tracks are starting up the week after July 4th with Del Mar and Saratoga. So we'll definitely chat a little bit more about that. And when you said I'll see you in November, I mean, we're gonna see each other in person in August, right?
That is the goal. Trust me, it is. The sad part is I usually try to get up there the first week in July. We have a handful of clients, and I got some good friends that play in the main event for the World Series of Poker. And I try to get up there in July and then circle back in August. And then I'm usually there for the first week of football. When I go back to back to back, the wife starts to give me the rolling eyes. And so we're going to do everything in our power, trust me, to get up there for August with the Wager Talk crew and everyone else up there. I'd love to get a round of golf in with you as long as you don't mind me. I get the mileage. I get to see the whole course. You just get that straight, fairway approach. I get all the hills to the left and the right, though.
Yeah, you get more value for your buck.
1,000%. They should charge me two rounds for all the walking that I get in. Trust me. So,
I think as your next guest is going to show up shortly, I believe Grissom is coming out the week before, and we're going to play in the VEASAN tournament. So we'll see. We'll see.
Keep those sticks going. And then, of course, on Wednesdays, we got Brady Cannon here. So you make sure you chime in. And, him and Matt Yeomans, circling the earth, playing in, Kapalua here. And then all these other, I just like, I'm lucky if I get 18 holes where there's a windmill on the 18th. How's that sound?
I love both Brady and Matt, but I will say, nothing personal against him. My goal is to beat Matt Yeomans in a golf tournament. It's going to happen one of these days.
Well, I want to make sure we have that on video. How's that sound?
I'll bring my drone.
There you go. I want to thank everyone for watching and listening. Again, last time, 8 on top. If you're playing to win, $1 exacta, 378 on top with the 23678. $1 will cost you 12 altogether for the exacta there. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from the one, the only Mr. Sean Alvarez. Go to Twitter, follow him at Smooth Turn 2, and ask away. He does answer the question. Trust me, he does. So everyone, we'll be back in about 16, 18, 20 minutes. Myself, Matt Grissom, Quentin Mills will get you ready for the Super Regionals, and we'll see you soon. Thank you so much.